Good evening. Welcome to very late artist conversation. I think a very new time, possibly. We have the amazing Dawn Collins, photographer extraordinaire. I don't have other words to describe this woman than she is genuinely super, super lovely. And I've had the joy of being photographed by her this week as a part of her project. Hey! Here she is now. Hey, Karina.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, I'm good.
Oh my God, it's an amazing background. That is super cool.
It's my interior designer in me, so
Wow. Okay, so we have to start with an introduction from you because I felt away. Honestly, looking through your photographs, there's a lot to look through and they are amazing. So if we start with the introduction and then we can get into this because it's going to be fab. Do you want
cool.
to move your camera a little bit? You're a little bit further down in the screen, maybe to get you a bit more in the middle. Yes,
Is
perfect.
that
There we
right? Is that better?
go. Yes, much better. So
Cool.
yeah, short really?
We'll say that again. I lost you.
Just an introduction and then we'll crack on.
Introduction to me, Dawn Collins. I'm a mum of three, wife of one. Although I often say I'm a mum of four, actually. Yeah.
That's why I laughed. I was like, yeah, that was a good way to put it.
Yeah, bless him. And I do have a dog as well. So actually, I'm really a mum of five. So yeah, it's a busy life. I've spent most of my professional life as an interior designer.
Mm.
And I then had a whole load of circumstances that led me to reevaluating my life about 5 years ago. I totally reevaluated everything, and I plunged myself headfirst, literally headfirst, because I knew nothing, into going into photography. Yeah, I've kind of really found myself. I think I'm the most me I've ever been. In my life, which sounds really weird, I know, but I think I've really got to know myself properly over the last four years or so. It's been quite liberating, and I've really enjoyed the process, and for me, it's been the perfect thing for my mental health, which I needed to do because, long story short, I have a health condition, which is actually a disability, and it's something that can't be cured. There's no drugs out there that really help me. I've tried them all, and given them all up because they didn't work. As a result, I've sort of, needed to find something that I could focus on to deal with the chronic pain and the chronic fatigue that this condition gives me, alongside a million and one other things. It's a long list. I won't bore you with all of that, but I've really needed this focus to help me through and help me cope. And also, I didn't want my children to look at me and think I was a wet weekend kind of thing. I wanted them to know that they've got a strong mum. Determined is definitely a tag I would put on myself. I want them to know that it doesn't matter what adversity gets thrown at you, because there's lots in life potentially. I know I've had my fair share. So I kind of just wanted to show them that it doesn't matter what gets thrown at you, you can still go and achieve your goals. So that's me in a nutshell, pretty much.
Excellent. So if I can start with like photography, what was the introduction into photography specifically for you?
Um, I was in a really dark place, and I needed something that I felt passionate about. Everything that I'd done prior to photography, I hadn't really chosen it. It kind of just happened. I kind of fell into all the jobs that I'd ever done, and I literally looked through the yellow pages. I got made redundant from an airline. I was an air stewardess for a bit, and looked through the yellow pages and thinking, I don't know what to do. And yeah, in the days that there were the yellow pages revealing my age, so yeah, I looked through the yellow pages and I came across interior design. I thought, yeah, that sounds like something I could do. Gave a few companies a call. One company got back to me, and I went for an interview, and they took me on. And I learned a lot about the industry. I've got a huge wealth of knowledge in interior design, dealing with top end as well. It was all the proper stuff, and but I just lost my love for it. People don't treat you, I don't know, unless, I think, you know, if you work in London, if you work for an interior design company in London, or have your own company in London, maybe people treat you slightly differently there. I wasn't in London, so people kind of didn't treat me like a professional. It was almost like it's kind of like being a waitress, if you like, which I've done as well. And yeah, it just didn't really fulfill me, if that makes sense. So when I went into this dark space, I really had to look at what it was I really wanted to do to change things around for me. Oh, look, your mug matches my wallpaper. Coordinating, awesome. Yeah, so I really sort of looked at everything I'd ever done, and something I've always done without really thinking much about it was photography. And especially when you have children, you've got the camera out all the time taking pictures of the children, and nobody ever takes pictures of me. And if they do, and I'm probably going to hear my husband in the distance telling me, shut up, but he takes really rubbish pictures of me. I always hate the pictures of me. And he's like, but it's not easy to take a good picture. And I didn't believe him. I was like, no, it really is easy to take a good picture. It's, point and shoot. How difficult can that be? But he basically convinced me that actually you are actually really good at taking pictures, and maybe you should think about it a bit more.
Yes.
So that's what I did. I literally sunk a load of money into a really good quality camera, which I still use now, because this was only like 4 years ago now.
Yeah.
And
4 years. I'm excited for this conversation even more. Okay, sorry, I interject.
So 4 years ago I bought myself a camera and started reaching out via Instagram, and I've sort of done loads of bits and pieces ever since, starting out with trying to assist people that were in the area of photography I thought I wanted to go. Sort of like fashion and beauty, portraits, that kind of thing. Because I'm really open-minded. I'm very open-minded to life in general, and I'm really open-minded as to what avenue, because I don't know what suits me properly yet. Although I think I'm getting a real good feel for it now, and I think actually this whole COVID-19 situation has actually made me see a bit more of a clearer path for the way I need to take my photography. So yeah.
Okay, so I just have to talk about it a little bit, because like when you talked about your interior design background, it then kind of clicked to me why you have sort of such a stylized eye when it comes to your photography, because it really is beautiful. Like I feel like I'm in an interrupted moment, a moment I shouldn't be in, like in a lot of them, and I'm like, oh no. You know, and these are very beautiful people, don't get me wrong, you know what I mean? But I think there's something about you, and I have to say, and I was mentioned before you came on, I was lucky enough to be a part of your COVID-19 project and be photographed by you. And I'm not going to lie, guys, I asked for a reshoot because I looked at her stuff and I was like, no, I can't do it through WhatsApp, so I had to scrounge around for an iPhone. Shout out to Karina for the iPhone. Because I, as an artist, understand the thread of your page and the quality of your pictures and what can be done, you know what I mean? So, and this lady so lovingly, guys, she accommodated me but I very rarely get photographed by such a good photographer. My sister is amazing at photography, so I'm a bit slack, like I assume everyone can do it. But your husband's totally right. Like, she has an eye for it, you have an eye for it. Like, I can pretend, like, I'll stand there like, ooh, zoom in, I don't know anything. It's not my husband, but she's similar to you where it's like, you take great pictures. So I'm very proud of your husband. Excellent work, well done. But yeah, you create this environment where it feels really intimate. And I don't mean in a sexual way, even when I'm like, whoa, but I feel it's a really, like a moment in love more than in lust. Even like the underwear shoots, and I know that there's sort of even the fashion ones but I really feel I've interrupted a moment, and it's really beautiful to look at.
Thank you.
And I think it's down to massively how comfortable you make the people you photograph feel. Like, I've just really enjoyed looking through your stuff. I can't even hide my smile. It's so cheesy, but I'm like, it's so, the way that they're shot are beautiful. And guys, go have a look at our Instagram story later on after this, because you can see a load, and then go to the webpage and the Instagram of Dawn's, because they're both beautiful. So how do you, I don't know if I can ask how you do it, because I think it's who you are that does it.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I mean, like you said, you've had the experience yourself. I mean, I like to talk to people. I like to find out about them. I'm an empath by nature. Gone through a lot in my life, so I get people. And I'm just genuinely interested in people, and I hope that people pick up on that. And as a result, I suppose that comes through. And I think, you know, if you don't have a connection with the person, there's probably not a lot of point in shooting them, because then nothing's going to really translate on camera. And I think, you know, the photos do have to have a certain amount of emotion with them. People do have to connect in the way that you say you connect. Otherwise, there's just no interest. And you know, there's loads of photographers out there that are great at doing it, but I do come across people that call themselves a photographer, and I instantly sort of
I know what you mean,
because there's no, I don't feel it. And if you don't feel it, then there's no point. So yeah,
it's really beautiful to look through. And like, I'm so proud that I had my ego go like, come on, just ask, because if you don't ask, you don't get. But I'm so much prouder that on your feed, my pixelated horrible WhatsApp, they're not horrible, guys, don't get me wrong, but they're just pixelated. They're really beautiful pictures, and I'll post them in my private one. But it's like, we could do better for Dawn. And when you meet her or ever interact with her, you can feel it through this. I'm almost sure of it. And it's not to blow smoke up your bum, for real. Like, you are just genuinely a lovely person. But I think that's why I felt sort of like I shouldn't be looking at the photograph. I felt a bit like, oh, that's like not a boyfriend and a girlfriend, but like a genuine love. You know, like almost like a old married couple kind of love without, there's no lust sort of left. There's just that really, because you do, when you talk to someone, like, your phone calls are never sort of, you know, just 2 minutes or 25. I never feel rushed when I'm speaking with you, or like I need to hurry up what I'm saying. I always feel like you genuinely are like locked in and actively listening to what I'm saying. And I'm like, wow, that's so rare nowadays, especially like I've never actually met you.
Yeah.
It is very rare to have someone ask you something and you feel like, wow, stranger really cares about the answer. So it's really, I think it comes across beautifully in your artwork.
Thank
It's
you. I
no,
really love that. It's really, really lovely. It's really nice. Something that I have got in my bio on my private, call it my private page. It's not private at all, but I have two Instagram pages. One that's purely my photography, and then the other one I throw in the occasional selfie, and things like that, just to portray a little bit of my personality, because actually as a photographer, as much as we're behind the camera, I think it's important for people to kind of know who they're going to work with. But in my bio on there, I can't remember the precise words, but it does state that I have a big heart. And actually my hashtag that I always end all my hashtags in on that page says "lot of love to give." And that does kind of sum me up. I do have a big heart, and I do genuinely love a lot of people. Like if someone crosses my path, comes into my life, and you know, I get the opportunity to speak with them, I always think that that's an opportunity for a friend in life, and if they reciprocate that, then that's great. If they don't, that's their choice. But yeah, that's just who I am. So.
Yeah, it's really great. No, I think it's fantastic. That's why I've kind of found it hard to sort of ask you, because I think like you are what makes the person so comfortable to give you that moment of like, it's almost like you've stolen it. Like you've been in between that person and someone they love dearly. And that's something I think is great. And like pointing out that you have sort of a personal portfolio that can run alongside it, I think is a great point to touch on for a lot of, you know, photographers or any artists as well, because people need to have an emotional connection with you in some way to support, you know, what you're doing. Yes, when it's photography and art, there is an aesthetic that they have to connect with.
Yeah.
But I find the process and getting to know the person also just makes me deeply value like the way I felt when I've looked at their art and get to know a little bit more about them. And I'm very similar in the way that you are. Like I'm totally open. You can have my whole world. It's not a problem. It's right here. You can just participate. We just have a good time. We're not complicated.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
Really nice. It's really wonderful. It's not nice. Nice is a revolting word. It's wonderful. So if I can talk maybe about what's been your proudest moment connected to your photography so far? And even if there's more than one, feel free to tell us everything.
Yeah, I think that's a really difficult question, because it was such a massive step outside of my comfort zone. I should probably be proud of the whole journey. In many ways, like, you know, if you'd have known me 5 years ago, I would never have gotten on a train on my own and gone into London. And now, not now, but before, I was doing that a lot. And not only was I going into London on my own, I was then going to a house that I didn't know the person at, and things like that. And I was just putting myself out there to meet a lot of strangers, and that terrified me. But yeah, no, I just I don't know what's my proud. I'm really proud of this project that I've been doing over COVID, actually. The fact that I'm not just doing my staple, if you like, the male models, which is definitely a love of mine. But the fact that I've opened it up to creatives from all walks of life, and artists and fitness people and fitness experts and wellness experts. I've opened it up to all the things that I think the whole world is really focused on right now whilst they're in lockdown. And that's been a really great thing for me, and it's really helped me through this time. I've spoken to some amazing people with great stories. I feel like I've spoken to people all around the world. I've been to Argentina and Japan and New York and LA, and I feel like I've actually been traveling whilst I've been sat on my bed in my bedroom or on the sofa here, you know. It's been really great. I've loved it, and it's really opened up a whole load of different topics of conversation, and it's just been really, really good. So I am really proud of that, and I really hope something will come of it. I'd like to do an exhibition with it. I'm hoping it's going to get some magazine coverage. I'm just sort of, you know, putting the feelers out there at the moment and working on that. But yeah, and I suppose my first editorial was quite a proud moment as well. I mean, as a photographer, you do an awful lot for free, and even the editorials, you sometimes even pay to get your editorial into a magazine. If the magazine likes it, they, you know, they take your money and then they take your photos. But at the same time, to be validated enough to think that my work was good enough to be published in a magazine is quite a big thing. And I know, you know, we're all supposed to be environmentally friendly, and trust me, I'm very much for all of that, but there's nothing better than seeing your work in print. It really is.
Old school. I'm like you, but I want a photograph, and like I'm devastated because like I'm trying to be vegan, I'm trying my best to do all the things, paper straws, and you know, talking about the right topics and doing the things I can do, but I'm like,
yeah,
it's a bit.
Still like to touch and feel and properly see it.
Yeah, I feel awful to kind of say it, but I'm like, Polaroids are some of the greatest photographs of your personal life you'll probably ever come across, because they're terrible and they're funny, and yeah, but I'm trying to also be more digital where I can. But I get it when you see, like when I see my artwork on paper with my acrylic paint and the things I know, you know, but there's something, and you have to, I think we innately have to create and have things that we can see and touch and feel, you know. The digital age is amazing, and like you say, during your COVID-19, these conversations came out of COVID-19, and I, like you, have sat in my studio and got to talk to the whole world, and it's been great. But yeah, it's wonderful to see your stuff in print. It is, so be super proud of that. It's okay. Yeah, because something different to a digital platform where anyone can kind of access, make a website, do that nowadays. Anyone can do that. So to see it validated is great. That's awesome.
Yeah,
but it's fantastic. Like our conversation that we had when you did both of my shoots, but the first one was so nice to talk to, so wonderful to talk to someone who, like, I didn't feel like I was being photographed. And I think that's maybe how your dawnness makes people feel, like they get stuck because they're like, it's just baby. And then she's like, snap, 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 and they're all amazing.
I think it's very different, and that's something I've really learned actually with this, because I've opened it up to people that aren't models and they're not used to being in front of a camera. Even the models are finding it strange because actually they're looking at my face and not a lens. Yeah, that's probably quite off-putting, but yeah, I think, you know, what was I say? I've lost my track of thought.
Oh, the COVID, bringing in people.
Oh yeah, bringing people that are not used to being in front of a camera. It's very different to photograph those kind of people. Whatever that means, but people that aren't comfortable in front of a camera, I think that's a real art. I really am not that person. I can't stand being photographed, and if you want to capture me, really you need to capture me when I'm not looking or not aware, because posing is not my forte. So it's really important to be able to talk to the people that aren't comfortable in front of the camera and put them at ease and actually capture them when they're not necessarily realizing they're being captured. And that's kind of how you get the best out of them, really.
It's a really great, like, I'm super proud. Thank you so much for including me. It's really great. And what's fantastic as well is the stories. And like, I've read so many. I've tried to highlight one or two, but then I found your male models, and just to draw a comparison, like with the male models before the COVID one, it's that sort of intimacy. I feel like you've still captured it through the COVID-19 pictures with people. It isn't like a lustful thing for me. It is that sort of deep sense of care. So even though it's a totally different subject and project, you still have that of your thread going through, which I thought was great.
Cool. Well, everyone sort of asks photographers, what's your style? And I've always found that a really difficult question to answer. But I think I'm learning more and more that it is quite clean, quite soft. I think that's the love that probably works. So yeah. And keeping it as real as possible. I'm not a big fan of lots of touch-ups and altering shapes and things like that. I think it's really important to portray the person as they are. So
no, it's really awesome. So now that we've talked about your prouder moments, what's been sort of your scariest moment with your photography in particular?
All of it. Considering I am self-taught, I am still teaching myself. Technology is not my friend, really. It doesn't come naturally to me.
Me too.
Nope. When I was faced with editing stuff, I just absolutely no clue. And of course, as I like to do things properly, so I photograph in RAW, which means that you have to edit everything. And I find it all scary. I find it scary meeting a new person, getting on the train to a new job, assisting the photographers. What if I don't know what they're asking for in terms of equipment? I've really, really put myself out there to sort of learn as much as I possibly can. And I still don't know it all. And I don't think I ever will. And actually, I don't know that I want to, because I think if you know too much technically wise, you lose your creativity.
Yeah.
So I like to a degree that I don't know everything or don't know anywhere near enough, but at the same time I'd like to know a bit more. And it's all very well looking back and wishing that I'd started a bit sooner. I might be a bit further on in the career if I was, but I'm not as young as I was, and learning isn't as easy as it used to be.
But I think then in there lies sort of, I think you had to go through all of that, discover your empath to be able to connect the way that you do, which is, for me, for your style to still feel the same from your sort of editorial shoots that you did before it, and then for me to still find it in every single one of your shoots. And it's not necessarily like people are not clothed or are completely naked. There are some people that have chosen to show off more, but like you tell us, it's a showcase of us and if we're comfortable. But even people in suits and fully clothed with scarves and like super intimate and lovely. And I think, yeah, your learning was more the empath thing for me. So I hope you don't beat yourself up too much, because I feel like you couldn't have got here any sooner. It's like an awful catch-22.
Yeah.
Your emotional connection is built from your experience of time, and it's
100%.
Yeah, I think we're here for it, Dawn. We're here for it.
Cool.
Nothing but a number, man. We're here for it. Okay, wow, excellent answer. I understand that. I'm terrified of all my art all the time. It's terrifying.
Yeah.
So I have a question of how has the pandemic affected your life, but I think we've kind of talked about that quite a bit. If we can talk, do you have any ideas of your sort of, actually, if I could ask you before I ask you this, how do you identify the projects that you go to? I know you say you've thrown yourself in, so is it just a matter of helping everyone, or are you quite selective with the projects you're on? How do you identify a project you're going to be a part of, basically? Sorry.
No, I mean, when it comes down to working with photographers, I work with people that I admire their work of. So that's what I've tended to do, is contact the people that I like their work. Learning on the job is that's very different, I suppose, to my own projects. My own projects, all the photography I've done, a lot of the models have come through agencies, London modeling agencies, some abroad. and they send me through a bunch of people to look at, and I select a few. So that's kind of that. The ones that I've done for editorial, and I kind of try and make sure I give every model as much exposure as possible. So I've tried to do an editorial for most of the models I've now shot, and I style all of that myself, and I decide on the locations and all that kind of thing. So that's been quite a task, because there's a lot to think about. But and yeah, I mean, this is, like, I would say, my first true project, this whole isolation 2020 that I've called it. This is my first true project, and it's just kind of evolved from thinking, everyone's at home digging into their creative worlds. They're either watching television and listening to music like we all do all the time, but that's creative, and without that, what would we have done, sat at home this whole time? People are reading books more. A lot of people are turning to fitness to keep them mentally focused and give them themselves a kind of structure to get through the day. So I just thought that it would be a great idea to open it up to all the different types of people that are providing us with all the stuff that we're doing now. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, cool. Because I just was so interested. I was like, actually, how do you identify your projects as a photographer? Because we have a couple photographers, so I really know them very well. So I know how they do it anyway. But random photographers that I've just met, like Lovely Dawn, no more.
A little different, yeah. Well, the other thing was, for me, my youngest of 3 is currently fighting leukemia. So
I followed her today. Yes, I followed her today. She's so sweet when she put her post up. Support my mum.
Yeah, well, I help run that page, and it's a lot about all our conversations that we have and trying to spread a bit of positivity about it, because again, it's another situation that's pretty crap, to say the least. It's a long old journey for her as well. We've got she was diagnosed 1st of May 2019, and we've still got over a year of treatment still to go. So it's a long journey for her. And the reason I kind of decided I needed to do something was that I've had to put my camera down for the best part of, for over a year now. I've really not done very much for a year, because obviously we spent a lot of time in hospital, and if we're not in hospital, we're at home. And at home, it doesn't mean she's well. She's still fighting a lot. So I've been in isolation, if you like, for a year now. And all the things that everybody is dealing with right now is something that we've had to deal with for that whole year. Watching where we go, who we're with, whether or not someone's got a cough or a sneeze, making sure everything's clean. So many things that we've had to take on board for that now that everyone else has entered our little bubble, if you like, it was kind of a good way for me to feel that I could approach a lot of people without really intruding too hugely, because they're all in the same situation. Everyone's in the same situation, more or less. And people in my industry in particular have nothing to do. Photographers can't work, models can't work, everyone has literally down tools. And I needed to do something that could keep me going and keep me creative, and give myself a bit of a challenge, because everything I'm doing is all on the phone. I've never done that before. I mean, the phones are a great camera, and I use my phone camera a lot for family shots and stuff, but it's very different in terms of translating that, and I don't edit those pictures. They're just as they are. But yeah. So this whole FaceTime shoot project thing is definitely been a challenge. And I've edited everything on my phone as well, so I've not been using all the tools available to me. And so yeah, so it's been good. It's been a good learning process.
Yeah, and it's cool because I think everything on your phone, it's kind of reflective of the time. Everything kind of isn't what it should be, and we're all kind of feeling like we're able to do stuff, and it's a little bit weird because the people that aren't having a great time, I worry about them, but I'm actually safe. It's a very weird feeling. I haven't enjoyed that about this at all. And being back at work, it's revolting. I feel I'm very affectionate. Like, it's a love language of mine that's very strong. And I hug every time. We've got our own special high fives. It's like I have like 600 different greetings in one building, and almost half of them involve touching them in some capacity. And I'm like, I feel like I've been told off like a naughty kid, like I'm not allowed to hug my friend, and
Yeah.
oh, it's horrible, and you don't want to put them at risk. You don't want to be at risk. It feels awful, absolutely
Yeah.
revolting.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry,
It's,
I've just been here. Like, oh. But
but it's true though. It's definitely, it's really alien to people, I think, the whole thing. And actually, you know, because we're shielding, even the advice that comes to us is like, try and spend time in you know, separate rooms, and don't go too close to them, and you know, and like we're going to do that. You know, at the end of the day, we're all in the same boat. We're all doing, yeah, it is ridiculous. But that's on the letters from the government, and the advice for people that you're having to shield. So yeah.
yeah, the advice from the government at this time is, I think, just added more and more stress and confusion because I cannot see it to stay alert from it. So how shall I stay alert?
Yeah.
How do I do that? And then if I go and violate some of these and get arrested by a police officer, but your government officials are driving all over the countryside. I lead by example just a bit, but yeah. It was an interesting point you brought up, the three things that I've also been chatting about a bit with people about, like creativity, mental health, and fitness is all we're talking about during this pandemic. That's it. And
Yeah.
obviously, but those three things have got so many people through this period
Hmm.
that it's unbelievable. I just really hope that the three things we never stress in real life, you know, when it's all football matches and distractions, I hope these three things stay at the forefront and funding for them becomes available, and making unions for artists that they can be a part of that aren't extortionate, that can protect them at these times, because a lot of us are tuning into lives being put on by performance artists and, you know, giving what we can, but a lot of us are not being paid. And
Yeah.
I think the government needs to appreciate, you know, TV, music, everything is artistic that's getting you through at this time. So,
Absolutely. Yeah. I think it's
yeah.
vital. It's vital for everybody.
Absolutely. And I've loved seeing everyone, you know, lots of my friends have started to like, oh, ask about my art class on Sundays, and they're like, oh, you know, can anyone, I'm like, guys, we're just drawing portraits of people or plant pots or my hand at the moment. Like, we're doing what we can, but it's just a way for 6 or 7 of us or whatever to be on a house party app, sit in real silence probably for 2 hours and just draw together. But
Mm.
we need to be together, and but yeah, I can't wait till we can be in the bar drawing naked people and drinking Prosecco. It'll be fabulous.
Yeah,
And
and having the hug to say hi.
yeah, exactly. And doing an exhibition maybe of your stuff. So if you want, we're available for you, Dawn, whenever you want.
Yeah, watch this space.
And now, if we could talk about my absolute favorite question. If there was absolutely no money limit, no governmental control, what is the absolute dream for your photography? Like, is it like, what is it? And it can be everything and nothing.
Oh,
But
loads of things. I'd like to feel validated in what I do. So actually get paid for some jobs would be nice. Um, I'd love to see my pictures on book covers. Um, I did a job out in Venice, coming up for 3 years ago now. And every morning I had to travel down the Grand Canal to one of the other little islands, which I forget the name of right now. But I'd pass one of the massive billboards just past St. Mark's Square, with some kind of fashion poster on there. It was huge. And I thought one day that'll be me.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, just, I don't know. I plus I'd like to be able to sort of use my platform to help raise awareness of various health conditions and causes and things that are important.
No, Dawn, in this dream question, you have no money limit. You can build an entire institute if you'd like. I've had people building things in Morocco. That was a wild dream. So really, because I think it's great what you and your daughter are doing by posting and starting conversations and raising awareness, because, like we talked about on our chat about the Black Lives Matter, we just need to all be talking about it. It can be taught, it can be untaught.
Yeah.
But the conversations that you and your daughter do on the page, I didn't have a deep look through it, but it's lovely. You know what I mean? That there's such a positive message and bond there, that you guys are working together to bring light into such a dark space, because I don't know how you cope to be so really genuinely positive and lovely, because it's what you're going through is very hard, and it's something that you wouldn't wish on anyone. And to have such a positive way about you, and with your daughter bringing, not sort of just going for the treatments, but involving people, is a really great thing. So anyway, back to your dream where there's no money.
Really highlighting all those kinds of things would be great. I'm not quite certain how that's all going to happen, but I've always thought I'm here to make a difference somehow. And I'd love to do portraits of all sorts of people, famous, not famous, doesn't really matter, but just be known for a good portrait, be known as a good photographer. That would be lovely for people to be, I don't want to be famous particularly, I just want to be respected, I think, is more the point. That would be better.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool. Wow, I love that. And we'll keep your dream money on hold until you realize what you need, and then your dream money is.
I'll come to you for that. Yeah.
And so if I can talk to you a little bit about, because my first exhibition was about the male form. And if I can be a little bit selfish, because I see a lot of your work is predominantly male before the COVID project.
Yeah.
And there are stunning pictures. They're beautiful men, but they're very, very nice pictures. What is it that draws you to the male form in particular with taking your photographs?
I suppose it's my personal preference, for one. Not that I don't find women beautiful as well, because I do. But they're kind of easier to deal with, men, on a personal level. I've had my fair share of troubled times with other girls and things. Girls can be quite nasty. I've got 2 daughters and 1 son, and for some reason the relationships that my son has is just easier. They're just easier, they're better, they're stronger. There's no real nastiness there, and for some reason girls find it really hard to support one another, and I struggle with that hugely. And it kind of breaks my heart how girls treat girls. And actually, if we touched on like education with Black Lives Matter, all that kind of stuff, all these kinds of things need to be brought into teaching in school.
100%.
Girls lifting up other girls is really vital, as much as Black Lives Matter, as much as transgender matters, all of that, everything. And education is key to it all. I'm totally veering off of the question
Yeah.
here, but you're going to have to remind me what the question is now.
Oh no, it's just
Oh, the
to
male
discuss.
form. Yeah, the male form. Yeah,
Oh
well,
yeah, just your preference there. I was so into the conversation, like who cares what the question? Yeah, this is good. Because you're absolutely right. And I think the main thing that overhangs everything is that human beings just want to be treated with respect, regard, like, disrespect me for who I am and my views, because those things I form. That's the only part I can control. Who I fall in love with, who I sleep with, my color of my, like the level of melanin in my, like, it's so boring. Like, I think we're really over trying to constrain one another to these idealistic things. I've sat next to people in my grand's church that beat their wife every single day, but on Sunday they're at church and they're a doctor, and everyone's like, wow, what a great guy.
mm,
The guy could afford to go to medical school. He's not a healer, though. And that's we want to all be treated with respect. We want to all be able to have equal opportunities to follow the things we're passionate about, not the things we can afford.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
So yeah,
and actually, you
the
know,
girl thing
going back.
sucks. Yeah,
Sorry, say again.
sorry.
I
Oh, the
lost you.
girl thing sucks so much. It really pisses me off because I had a real issue with women my whole life. I
Mm,
don't have a relationship with my biological mother. I really didn't trust women for a long time. Great relationships with my aunts and stepmom and everyone like that, but I didn't trust women for a long time because they were so evil to each other. Like, I'd hear these women talk about each other, and then I'm like, yeah, I'm on my friend's side. 5 minutes later, she's hugging her. I'm like, you didn't just spend 45 minutes talking absolute smack about this person, and you can go look them in your face like you're looking at me. So I veered off to males completely in my teens. I was like, I have guy friends, thanks. They're stupid and easy. Crazy, guys, I'm not being sexist. You lot are stupid, we're crazy, it's fine. But yeah, oh, cool. Okay, great. No, I totally understand.
Yeah, I think there's that. Plus, you know, I'm already styling the shoot, photographing it, being my own assistant, that kind of thing. I don't really need to be worrying about the makeup as well and the hair. Do you know what I mean? So,
I
yeah,
like the short.
guys are a bit simpler with that. It's not to say I can't do it because I can, you know, I dabble, I do a bit, but yeah. But
No,
yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's difficult, isn't it? I mean, I think I had bad antennae that attracted a lot of dodgy people in my past, and now I seem to be attracting a lot better people, and
yeah.
maybe the girls out there are not so bad, but
Well, but we're all on a journey, I think, especially women. We need to understand a lot of the aesthetic things we do is to please other women. A
yeah,
lot of male friends are like, I don't care. Did
yeah,
you? Really? Are you wearing makeup? Aren't you? I don't know. I have to show them like a video and wipe the face of the model. Like, look, doesn't look like this. And they're
yeah,
like, oh, women aren't really like, I'm like, come on, guys, take them for a swim. You know? But yeah, no, that's very cool. Because I don't want to be rude, but I love the way a man with a good body looks. I think it's such a beautiful thing to look at.
yeah, definitely.
Because I want to bang it, excuse the expression. It really is. I find it very, very interesting to draw. I enjoy how the muscle structure, and you can see how, and even with female models, when they're really fit and in shape with like a ballerina, you can see how the lines follow.
Hmm.
Every body is just connected through a beautiful infinite line, and I really like that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think, you know, I think being an interior designer, being an artist, being into photography, I just think you tend to appreciate beauty in all its forms anyway. So that there is always something beautiful to be found about everything and everyone. So, and that's what I have an eye for.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, it's just, I loved looking through your thing because I was like, yeah, I could draw him. I could draw him. Lovely reference materials for drawing. Thank you. A bit of an
Awesome, you're
anatomy
welcome.
later.
You'll have to send me all of them because
Oh, yeah, no,
I think that's such an honor to be drawn. I think that's the biggest honor out there for someone to take time and actually draw you. I think, you know, I don't know if everyone that gets drawn, because there's a lot of models out there that get drawings sent to them. I don't know whether they fully appreciate how special that actually is. So.
Well, I mean, I didn't appreciate it until we had moved to our virtual life drawing class, and Zoe sent in, she modeled for us just in her pants and, you know, all arty with the old boobs out.
Yeah.
It was so awesome. Like, we all sat there and we all know her, so it was such a different vibe to all sit there and draw her, and then we all sort of picked our favorite picture of ourselves at a really happy time, because it was a bit of a cuck week. So I was like, guys, do a nice picture of yourselves. And it was lovely to draw yourself, but then drawing Zoe and Jean-Luca, and then we drew Mandela, and everyone was like, I'm going to send you the picture in another hour. I need to work more on Mandela because he's so iconic. Everyone's like, nope, I need longer than 2 hours.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it is. I mean, I found a technique. I just draw the person upside down. So I turn it upside down and I pay far more attention, because when it's the right way around, I think I know and I get lazy. But when it's upside down, I'm like, no, that's a straight line. And then turn the picture around and I'm like, oh, it looks like the person. So I'm very excited.
Really interesting. I like that. Yeah, it makes sense.
It's really cool. And I mean, it's a great way to show your love for someone. Like you say, it takes a long time, and it's quite frustrating because you got to get a look about someone. You can't have like it's got to be like, oh yeah, that's Mandela. I'm like,
yeah.
Yeah. But I also know I didn't pick up my pen and start drawing like that straight away. Like, it's been a long time of drawing and drawing and drawing. So I think, yeah, it's been great. And you can see, I almost I feel silly saying this, but I can't believe in a way that you haven't been paid for your photography. I really feel like I'm looking through the portfolio of someone who's like, I feel like all of those were in magazines.
Yeah, well, a lot of them have been, but not the big iconic ones.
I feel like they've been in magazines, and I'm like, you really have something to pursue with this photography, Dawn. I'm so glad that you've thrown yourself at it and you're trying to learn from the ground up, you know, and you're okay with learning from the ground up, which I think will give you so much more strength and character when you're dealing with the money and the people that, you know, you're going to be able to deal with. It's going to be great.
Thank you.
I mean, we're coming up to the end of our first hour, so I think I've covered everything that I want, and it's just now if there's anything that you wanted to talk about. And what we'll do as well after this is I'll get some of the names for the page that you and your daughter have, so we can post that on our story and you guys can go and follow them as well. Yeah, we'll make up a little list of anything we've talked about today that's pertinent and put it on after.
Yeah, perfect.
The way we can support would be lovely, because all about support, it's very good.
Absolutely, yeah.
Just if you could take us through how people can contact you for your work, to work with you, that type of thing. What's the best way for people to reach you?
Well, Instagram's got all my details on, so yeah, it's got my email address, I think, and the website. So yeah, it's all there. And I generally answer most DMs as long as they're sensible.
Yes, no weird DMs here, no eggplants, okay? Not for Dawn. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to say a huge thank you. I really absolutely moved by your photography. I think it's been a fantastic chat. Thank you so much. And I look forward to really meeting you one day and actually having the convo. But yeah, I feel like you will be a person I hope to keep as a friend in my life, because you're, and everyone should get a Dawn in their lives. You're great. But yeah, guys, check out our Instagram story. It's full of pictures of Dawn's photography that I took from her Instagram, just snapshots. So yeah, go and investigate and follow her and show some love.
Yeah.
So yeah,
nice. Thank you so much. It's been really nice.
For tuning in. It's been really fun, and we'll be on our IGTV channel and our YouTube channel in a couple of months. So look out for that, and we'll post it, and you can share it as well when it's ready for YouTube. So, yay!
Awesome. Thank you.
And have a great evening, guys. Ciao.
Bye.